This is my unusable widget. It is an unusable text input. It has this line that denotes the area where text appears and 3 buttons, plus, refresh, and back. I will discuss the affordances, signifiers, mapping, and feedback of these items, as well as how that relates to human-centered design as described by Don Norman in his book, The Design of Everyday Things. First, we have this text box, text input, that has the affordance of allowing a user to provide text. The signifier is this underline, and the feedback is as you interact with it, the text shows up in the box, in the field. The first button is this plus button. The affordance that has is to add a character to the end of the text string, like so. It's just a random letter. The signifier is a plus button. The feedback is that the letter appears in the text input. This refresh button changes the value of the last letter in the text string, like so. The signifier is the refresh icon, and the feedback is that the last letter in the string changes. The third button is this back button. The affordance that it has is to remove the last character, the last letter in the string. The signifier is that it looks like a back arrow similar to a backspace button, and the feedback is that the last letter in the text string disappears. The signifiers are not necessarily very good, with exception of maybe the backspace one, the back arrow, because it actually looks somewhat like how you would expect a backspace button to look. The text input has this bottom line, although that doesn't really tell you that this is a text input. It's just a line. Who knows what it's for until you actually start using the widget. This plus button is an okay signifier in the sense that it accurately describes that it will add a letter to this text string, but that's a strange way of working with the text field. So I don't know, you might be able to look at this if you knew it was a text input, but if you didn't, you'd have no idea what that plus button was going to do. Same thing with this refresh button. In fact, the refresh button and the backspace button do nothing when there's nothing there, so it looks like they're just useless buttons until you have something there. The mapping of these widgets or items within the widget is okay because they are close together, so they look like they're related. However, given that this is a line, you have no idea it's a text field until you interact with it. Who knows what this line means, especially if there's a bunch of widgets on this page or other things, then it might look like this line is just separating these buttons from other things and not that it's an actual text input field. A potentially better mapping is to put these on in the same row as the text field. And the way that this all relates to human-centered design, as described by Don Norman, human-centered design is an approach that puts human needs, capabilities, and behavior first, then designs to accommodate those needs, capabilities, and ways of behaving. So the human need is the need to provide text to some program, like your name or your address or lots of pieces of information that you could give. The capability of a person is the ability to actually input. You know what you want to put into the text, and so you can do that. The behavior with a normal text field would be to click into the text field, and then it would bring up a little on-screen keyboard that you could press the buttons with, and it would put the text in. That is also a capability that this widget is missing, a human capability. that a person is perfectly capable of looking at a bunch of keys, or even if they're just an on-screen keyboard, and pressing the one that they want when they want to press it. This widget does not afford that. All you can do is add characters, change it randomly, and backspace. So this widget is missing a lot in terms of what a human is capable of doing as far as providing text input. Another example would be of a human capability that this widget is missing is clicking at a specific point, position within the string, and then editing the text there rather than needing to go back however many spaces and then adding a number or a letter. One more is a human is capable of selecting multiple letters and manipulating the string from that, where this, you can't do that. You're only adding one, changing one, removing one. And that's that. Hope you enjoyed.